thought I'd make a video about a few things I'm going to talk about. First is I just was coming across this email that someone had sent. Someone had sent my fucking email address to a bunch of spam bullshit, and now I'm getting a bunch of spam sent directly into my inbox instead of my spam. You know, those like ads and shit. But anyway, I noticed there was an email sent saying something about someone had confessed to a murder, a famous murder, which is, I remember hearing a lot about it. It was about the Natalee Holloway case in Aruba that was like a national, case. They sent Army veterans and shit, Marines, and they had like 3 fighter jets that flew from the Netherlands to just, because this girl that was graduating from high school died at 18. Everyone that knows about this story. Anyway, sadly the girl was murdered and killed. Didn't find anything about it, and he finally confessed. And he had apparently had killed someone else, and before he never got caught for it or confessed, but he ended up killing someone else in Peru, and then he got convicted for that murder, and then he eventually confessed of the other death that he had killed and threw her body in the ocean. And I was thinking to myself, this guy's 6'5", okay? This guy's 6'5". This is not a fucking small person. And the individual looked fairly big, like sort of heavy set. At 6'5", you probably weigh about 250 pounds easily, even when you're skinny, even when you're pretty thin and in shape. For someone to be even thin at 6'5" would mean that you have to be in some athletic shape. Anyway, the person was from the Netherlands. And this is the type of scary shit that I'm fucking thinking of. And I'm thinking of my sister Michaela. And I'm thinking, this guy, this piece of shit that was living downstairs below me, was stalking me all the way from Lawrence Community Shelter. Followed me all the way to Vermont, lived below me, and then electrocuted me. Ultimately, I had to run out, and I had all this money stolen from me. Evicted, not evicted, but I had to run. There's no peace. You can't physically be in the fucking house. You can't be in that environment. You physically can't, because you can feel just being beaten the shit out of. And I tried to withstand as much as I could, and I couldn't anymore. I had to leave. And this motherfucker was living below me. How many people, and this is not the first person that has done this to me, that has followed me from different cities and states. There was a woman that I met. I was going to work at DoorDash, riding a bicycle. And I think this person was a transgender, and I was in Seattle, Washington. I was 32 years old, I believe, 33. And this lady offered me a place to stay. And she's like, oh yeah, you could go and sleep on my bed. Or I sleep on one side of the bed, and I can sleep there. This is what this person did. And I this time I'm sleeping underneath the bridge. And I told this person, well, if it's okay if I sleep in your living room, and then I'll go ahead, because I was trying to get this fucking bicycle, so make deliveries on a fucking, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. Maybe I should make deliveries on this scooter. But anyway, I thought, and I remember, I think I stayed there the night, or the person ended up saying, oh, okay, well, something turned up, I gotta get you to leave, or I don't even remember. But this person was so enticing and wanting to be involved in my life, like, I'm your mother, I'm Celestina, I'm transgender, this is what we do. Because there's so much fascinated because of Michael Jackson, the transgender rapes, Barack Obama, and all this other crazy shit. You have too many crazy people. They're so infatuated with the attention, it'll give them purpose to commit a murder intentionally, because it makes them, oh, I'm at God level, oh, I'm famous now. And you do it for this very purpose, and it's very, very difficult. So what happens is, I leave, and when I was living in Barre, Vermont, right before I went to Auschwitz, the death camps, before I went there, I was living in Barre, Vermont in a hotel, and I want to say the first 2 months, first 3 months that I was living there, I think I would say, just to be safe, I'm going to say 1 to 6 months, but I'm going to say it was 1 to 6 months, but possibly first 3 months that I was there. I walked into a Walmart, and I saw, now keep in mind that I was in Barre, Vermont. I saw this person all the way from Washington, Seattle, where I was homeless, who living in an apartment, follow me all the way to Walmart. Like, I mean, I walked into Walmart and I saw this person walk by. I didn't even say anything to them. I was like, what the f-? And I was just thinking, what? And I said this on a video. I was like, what the fuck is this person following? This person was all the way from the fucking side of the country following me and knew exactly where I was. And this is top of the scary shit that I fucking talk about, how frightening it is, because Kenneth did this on purpose, and so did Sarah, and so did Ken Cooper. They know better that somebody will... You deal with murders all the time. You know better, because you are plotting that murder because you knew about Frankie being raped and you want anybody to know and find out about it because it's police officer, hero, detective, and you get Head Cracking Keynote 97.9 The Beat for the fucking hip-hop and the blacks and all, just for the mascot of the police department. But it's so fucking crazy because I think about this and I'm like, this motherfucker was following, you know, and there's been I think I'm going to say there's probably, I've usually always talk this crisis line, or I make a video saying, I just saw this motherfucker, I just saw this person from over here. And this would frighten anybody, that I have a beautiful sister, Michaela, and all of a sudden, who the fuck would want to target her? Oh, it was Keno 97. He was her heart. You know, he knew the police. Oh, I'm playing detective. I had to play that game for the niggas. I did a favor for the blacks. You know how ruthless I am. That's a bunch of garbage, goddamn bullshit. He knew about the rapes that happened with Miguel, with Frankie, and was covering up for Sarah and Ken the entire fucking goddamn time. What resembles of this type of behavior is like a plotted murder, because I was around speaking to him, and I've been around people that I sold drugs with when I was like in my late teens. When I was like 16, 17 years old. I've been around guys that lived in the ghettos of Oak Cliff and shit like Jesse. This type of behavior that Kenneth was doing was like a plotted murder tactical way of thinking that he was doing. Because this is a child being raped. You know you're sabotaging my mother. And he's intelligent enough to understand, but it's because he knows he can get away with it because of the police that's on his side. That's why. And the gay community and the secret organization that they work in. And this is what makes it very frightening. How do I know they're not going after Michaela? And this is why I put this on my hand. Because guess what? You're going to get Kenneth Cooper at the radio station for the niggas, head crack niggas. At the 97.9 The Beat. You know how this worked for the, special treatment for the whites. And this is all they fucking do. So I think it's important for me to talk about, because, you know, I read the story of Natalee Holloway, and I thought to myself, like, Holloway was a kind of famous name. It's a famous last name. It seems to have heard it before. I've heard that Holloway before. I was also thinking of that probably Max Holloway, the UFC fighter. But I've heard that's a pretty famous last name. I've heard that name before, but that's pretty fucked up. You know, that's what the whole enticing situation is that I'm going to have somebody else plot a murder against you, and I'm not going to be held liable, but I'm going to stay comfortable with my paycheck and did it for the faggots, because I can't tell you about how Ken and Sarah Cooper lived a secret relationship, homosexual relationship, and then Michael Jackson, gay community, secret order, you know, I did the favor for the niggas. You know, I'm just a white, you know, I'm just trying, you know, I'm a good guy, you know, but it's just how life is tough. You just really want to do it for show business, political power for the niggas. And then all the blacks will go ruthless for this shit. That's why that black nigger bitch was on the fucking goddamn fucking bus playing my dad's sister in that baby cart, and then looking at me trying to, because she knows she looks just like Sarah Cooper but black, and trying to play like the whole wearing all black like it's the Green Reaper and shit. and then telling me, no, I own the dead little girl. So I say this because as much as I try to deter the situation, is that that's always been the topic. It was happening at my job sites. So I think it's important for me to make this video that this is how terrorizing it is. It's like, and I'm thinking of this Natalie Holloway, I'm like, how do I know anybody is not going after my fucking sister? You got Michael Jackson, you got President Barack Obama, I got fucking raped by a transgender. This person is following me. Patricia Gardina, and is related to my mother, and you gave her a fucking house. But it's President Barack Obama for the niggas. Let me tell you how nasty this even gets, okay? And I don't know if I shared this clearly enough already. Earlier today, and I'm going to talk about more of my Luby's experience yesterday, but I was over at a dollar store, and this guy wearing a crucifix who was dark complected, he knows he looks a little bit like Barack Obama, follows me, and I'm going to get something in the aisle, right? I'm just getting a couple of things, some school supplies. And I turn by the left, and I know this motherfucker's stalking me. And so he starts to persecute me, the Jesus Christ cross. I can get away with what we want for Kenneth and the gay community, and for Barack Obama, I'm just now going to act aggressive and persecute you and wear a crucifix. And I'm going to taunt you, I'm going to pester you about this. And I can tell this person is faking. Like, he's looking at the items like he's trying to stalk me or something, trying to pretend he's doing something else, and he's not. I go to the front counter, and he charges at me very close, and he's wearing this big crucifix on his chest. And he gets real close to me like, I'm telling you what to do. If you don't worship the Jesus Christ cross, I'm going to tell you, Barack Obama. Like he's his presence, like he's leaning almost over me. I feel like he's leaning over me. Then this nigger motherfucking bitch in front of the cash register then plays along with it, and it's like, oh, okay, so that I gather this surrendering scared information, and I submit by watching this behavior of this bitch who's now behaving like Michelle Obama. Remember, this is for the niggas. And this is why it upsets me. And I don't say anything, and I start saying, because I know that they're trying to play this Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, I tell you what to do, otherwise I'll send the people. But they're not associated with them. They don't know them personally. They're just doing this because, guess what, I'll do the killings for Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, for the blacks and the niggas. And so I sort of turn around and I look at this like, this guy's looking at me like he wants to fight. Like, he's standing like right at me with a crew, like, I'm going to tell you what to do, the Jesus Christ you're going to worship, or fuck you. Like, and this is what he's doing. And I just kind of look and I said, yeah, Barack Obama can have me killed and murdered if he wants to, you know. I look like Osama bin Laden, don't I? And so I sort of feel like somebody's shooting me with an electronic device that makes me kind of nervous, and I kind of be hesitant to even want to say anything else, and that's why they're shooting me with the electronic device, because this is how they beat me with a crucifix. They continue doing this. Now, his behavior is to demonstrate a few things. Frankie Palomo and my biological father, because he tries to fit his age and body shape, and he'll do that sort of, you know, his skin, same skin tone, same ethnicity of Barack Obama, skin tone, hair kind of color, but about as tall, as same size as my biological father. Now, this behavior is to poison me, right? This is to control me. This is to manipulate my mother. So once I'm there, he does this because he sort of just looks at me. No, he goes, no. It's because of bad. He tells me, it's because of the bad spirit. He tells me that the spirit is bad. Like, he's telling me my spirit is bad. I don't worship Jesus Christ like I'm supposed to. That's what he's doing. You don't confront somebody ready to fight with a crucifix and stand leaning over them, and I don't know who the fuck you were. You're already following me right over there on the aisle at the Family Dollar store when I was picking up some school supplies and lotion, a journal and lotion for school and for my tattoo. And I think it's important because I turn around and I kind of give the lady the cash register money, and I'm thinking, as I look over at this person again, they go and kind of gives it an emotional, like, kind of chisel cry, like he gets emotional over my dead sister. He goes, yeah, it's because of a bad spirit. A spirit. so he kind of cringes. The reason he looks down is because he wants me to pick up on the idea that this is my dead sister. He's the Jesus Christ, and he can just staple the fucking crucifix for his niggers and Kenneth. This is what he's doing. This is a tactical thing because I'm the only defense in spoken words of what is actually happening. But this is to enforce a poisonous action. This is a type of behavior that the police is not going to stop you, and no one can stop me. And if you don't do what I tell you to do, you don't know who controls your wallet and your bank account and who's going to hit you with another car. So you better listen and become obedient. Because I'll hit your brain when I fucking feel like it. And I never know who's in charge. And that's what's frightening about it. Because they do so many... I mean, there was a car that tried to hit me 4 days ago. You know, fucking, you know... And literally, then walks into the store and I can't call the fucking police. But what happens is that I try to deter even more the conversation after I say this, because I try to put some sort of defense in myself. And I grab my stuff and I you know, whatever, do a couple things, and I get up and leave. Just leave, try to get up there as fast as I can. Get on my scooter, start driving away. And so I want to talk about this because I can't tell you how many times this happens under, like where it's correlated like that every 3 days, and it's everywhere I go. You don't understand that there's things that always people want to take a shot at you, but they'll set up sort of stages and behaviors very concentrated to get me in a mental state or put me somewhere or get me to believe something or change the story for Sarah and Ken about the rapes to help Kenneth at the radio station for the niggas and for the whites. The niggas do the favors for the whites, and the whites say, "Oh, it's not racist. Thank you for the niggas. Tell them a nigger." And then that's what they'll do. That's why I slept with Raquel. I'm fucking 16 years old, 17, don't know what the fuck's going on, and I'm being cornered by all these people and selling that. It's like what they did to my mother for prostitution. But remember this President Barack Obama, he's the first black nigga. What do you think he's going to do this for? You're going to fuck this up for all the United States that's ever existed for the first black president? No, they're willing to fuck me up and kill me for it. And I don't want to play any part of this, and this is why I'm running so much. This is why I have to get up and fucking leave. I have to get up and leave a different house. I have to get up and leave a different store, because it's so constant that the longer I stay in a location like that, the more dangerous it becomes, because they want to be famous. They want to be given the signal and signs over to Barack Obama and Michelle and the president and the movement for the faggots and the gays for Michael Jackson. That is exactly why. Because if I was a nobody and on the fucking street didn't know, never met these people, nobody has any interest for my fucking life. You know, nobody has any interest. I'm a fucking nobody. What the fuck why do you want to help just another homeless people that's on other than a church or maybe just a kind person that just wants to help the poor? But there's so many, it doesn't work that way when you're homeless. And because I know that lifestyle, who helps and who doesn't, and what type of manipulation goes into that church, and who's the religion, and what importance they have, and how they pick certain people out. But I thought I'd talk about this because, you know, it brings a lot of stress, you know, because I immediately started thinking of Frankie, and I thought, well, if Frankie is if he's in a good mental state, not mental state, he couldn't be. There's no way, because of what happened. If Frankie's mentally fine now, even though the trauma he dealt with, it doesn't going to change the fact that that's why when Frankie got on the phone, they have to target Frankie with Jesus Christ cross bullshit. And the reason they want to do that is because they want to make sure that if all the rapes that happened to Frankie, they have to cover it up for Miguel and Diana. And they have to cover up for Ken and Sarah, because you have to go after Frankie and me. Especially Frankie, because if he's vulnerable and he's already been premeditated to be beaten like that, he's very likely to be respected. Oh, okay, Jesus Christ, gosh, that's all you fucking need. Because that's exactly what they're doing. Just like whenever I was working for Child Protective Services, and I was living with this girl named Brenda in Carrollton, Texas, right across the street from Union Smith High School, and this person is, you know, I talked to Frankie for the first time while I'm working at Child Protective Services. And he says, yeah, you believe in Jesus? Yeah. But I could tell that he was just saying it just because he was saying it. I know how Frankie is. And he said, I love you, Hector. I love you. And I do. I understand Frankie's a loving person, but I know that they're going to target him without a doubt. I'm more positive about that than HIV to know that Frankie is 100% target, because he's so much of the inner circle of between me, Julian, and my mother, and what happened, and the rapes, and how Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper and Kenneth all plotted this against us, using the gay community, raping my mother, me, and all this other shit that goes on. Because they need, a police department needs a face, and they don't, to shun a murderer like that and a crooked cop that killed so many people in prison and jail is the worst shunning you can imagine in the public eye. And they don't want that, because remember, he's blonde and blue eyes, and those types of skin colors and hair colors, they get away with whatever the fuck they want with. That's royalty skin and hair. So I think it's important for me to say something about this. And, and I know, and so this behavior is also to kind of probably maybe mimic that type of behavior, and is to sort of make some adjustments. So I thought I'd talk about this. Because, hopefully this informs some people, the correct people, and there was another situation I wanted to talk about. More about the Luby's experience. I'm at Luby's. This is another Barack Obama threat about being ass fucked and raped, taunting me on Father's Day. I'm waiting in line. As soon as I open the door, Ken Cooper's impersonator is standing in front of me. They get a white male wearing black glasses to make sure it represents CIA, secret agent, FBI, detective work, and then he starts pointing. And it's to poison me mentally in every way. I have to stay mentally away from these people, because when I look at them, they want to murder me. This is death that they want me killed. There's no conversation, nothing here with this pig. And so he has his kid, looks like he's about 25 years old, skinny, starts pointing fingers because he wants to resemble Kenneth and Ken Cooper. Oh, he's a hero. Oh, then they have this little girl walking around him. I had to look away because he's the ownership of Miranda, the dead little girl, my dead sister. He was the angel that protected her the entire time. And this is what he's enforcing on him. So I have to look away. That little colored girl belongs to that white skin, even though that white skinned pig motherfucker that was there is gonna shun would shun a colored person like my dead sister in real life. That's not your skin color, and that's not your hair color. You don't give a goddamn fuck worthless piece of shit. You want to help your fucking white power shit. You don't think I know what the fuck you're doing? But I don't say anything, and that's really what I'm thinking. And then there's a guy behind me, cowboy hat, two black people, couples. I don't know, I think this is a transgender. I didn't look at this person's face. And I made a quick video. You'll look at the video at Luby's that I got this guy on camera. I don't know if it caught some of the people behind me or not when I sent my mother. And this black couple behind me, one's wearing a cowboy, kind of chubby, and he's standing behind me, and I can tell they're kind of trying to get my attention, but I just keep looking forward and not pay attention, don't pay attention. As soon as we get further down the line, I notice that there's a guy in a suit that is behaving like Barack Obama. Like he is a representation of Michelle Obama, two black couples, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And so he's wearing a suit. And so they haven't talked to each other. I don't see him signaling like they know each other. And as soon as I'm turning to go down the squiggly line, and I'm standing right here, all of a sudden this guy and people behind me stand right in front of me and puts his hand like this in front of my chest. It's very disrespectful to do that to a person. And he does this around my chest, like, oh, thank you, yeah, like, oh, how you doing? And he's like, to pester me. This is immediately what he does. These two niggers. And I'm fucking walking down the fucking aisle, trying not to pay attention like you goddamn. And everyone's watching this. The more behavior that they watch like this, the more aggressive other people become. Now we can take whatever we want from him. Now he's in a vulnerable state. He doesn't look like he's defending himself. But I have to just keep ignoring it. Just get through this line, get my food, and get the fuck out of there. This is on Father's Day. But the entire time, at least 2 or 3 times that I caught him, As I'm walking down the hall, and I turn around to look at him once, and he goes like this, and he goes ah yeah, and he's taunting me about me and Frankie, and he knows about the rapes that had happened when we were children, when Frankie was being fucked, raped in his ass. Black niggas for cowboys for Barack Obama, and this is the guy that's shaking hands with the Barack Obama impersonator, and they're laughing. And this guy does this while I'm waiting in line. This is on Father's Day. Go through my line, try to get the fuck out of there as fast as I can. I feel like I'm being rushed to pick out the food. Get my food and leave. As soon as I sit down, I talk about the guy. Some people started screaming, saying help. Guys having a choking on something, a heart attack. I don't know what the fuck this motherfucker. They were faking it. Immediately I thought they're faking it, but I'm going to act like whatever. I'll call the cops, but I called them just in case, because I could be wrong about it, but it looked like they were faking it. I could tell by looking at them like they were doing some fake shit. And I'm sitting down, and I don't know, maybe 30 minutes into my meal, as soon as I'm eating my meal, finishing up my iced tea, I look over, and this cowboy this black guy that's over there, sitting at the table, is looking at me, and he does this. And he's behaving very dull in the face. Meaning, Miguel, who raped Frankie, his face expressions were very premeditated. He's not stupid. I have fucking had conversations with this motherfucker, okay? He's intelligent, he's clear, this motherfucker understands. And his facial expressions are always like this, with his mouth open, like a kind of grim looking face at you. And he's doing this, and he's looking at me, and it's because he knows when I turn to my left, he's just right there about the same distance where Frankie was being raped. Remember, this is the same guy that's walking in the lines, squiggly lines, taunting me about getting fucked in the ass. And they're very close to me. And when he does this, let me tell you, his wife, this transgender, slowly scuffles her purse against my back. And as soon as they do this, as soon as he gets her to do it and she plays along with it, then he does, whenever I turn around to look, why are you running into me? I don't say nothing, but just to acknowledge by giving him a look that don't touch me. I don't like being touched. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah. And he's taunting about the situation when the whole rape's happened even to me. So I think on Father's Day, how disrespectful this fucking shit is. I think I wanted to talk about this because this is what they were doing at Luby's. But you'll never hear about those stories because I have to explain them in great details because there's not enough cameras and things that are happening. You don't understand the intensity of the hatred and premeditated mental behavior of what these people are doing. So I thought I would say something. Hopefully this resonates to whoever. This is very frightening because it does make me think, talking about this Natalee Holloway case earlier. It's pretty fucking scary shit, it makes me think that what would have happened if somebody hurt my sister, I haven't even met her, I don't even know, and I get raped, infected with HIV, besides Barack Obama sabotaging me, he did nothing good to me with that at all. That was just to have me murdered and killed. That was just put pain and use me for resources, for political movement, for some sort of resource. That was nothing good that happened. That was a curse that he did, intentionally, knowingly. And I thought I would talk about that because I was like, this goddamn son of a bitch. That there's no way that they didn't go after Michaela. If my mother's being raped, Michael Jackson, Frankie being raped, vulnerable situation, all the teachers went after Frankie, my mother being slapped, I can never express how bad this curse this was from Michael Jackson. That the child being abducted, you know, it doesn't change anything to the ideas that continue to follow, because all the faggots felt sorry for Diana and Miguel. That's what they fucking did. That is exactly the only reason they fucking did. They wanted to feel glorious, feel sorry for the faggot. Well, find an excuse form of language to get away with it. And it didn't stop. So why wouldn't they want to go after my biological father? I watched how they ran off my biological father when we were at, and when I was in first grade. I watched how that happened. I saw what like the fucking teachers, the transgenders showing up and scaring him off, like a bunch of them. Like even when 3 or 4 transgenders would show up around me, like they were trying to get aggressive and team up on me, like I always see them do, but particularly aggressive, it would be very frightening, because you still have that number of transgenders, like you still have that number of human beings that are literally facing at you, like they're facing at you like a team, like a pack of wolves, at the same time working together, very correlated, not like facing opposite directions and doing, you know, the whole routine of go against Hector. They're all facing you. Like I saw that shit, and he was saying, and they made him get on, you know, made a phone call on a fucking talk to the principal. He goes, yeah, this is my son, or some shit like that. I'm here to pick him up from first grade class. And he literally told him this hallway, I said, he looks just like me, doesn't he? And he was like, and he didn't try to start too much of an argument. He's waiting as I'm here to pick up my kid, you know. And so they do this to get away, give him to Raymond, the gay community. Faggots wins again. And so then as a male, depending on how smart you are in the reality of life you want, you either run, give up the kid, and make another life and keep going. You want your life to keep going. You know the kid's safe, but you know you're still young, doesn't matter. It's to ditch the same behavior that my mother starts to have to do with the little girl. Remember, that transgender wouldn't have moved into that goddamn house had it not been for this transgender gay faggot raping my brother and slapping my mother. The reason they did that, because they need to put a transgender in there. Once you put the transgender to get the transgender credit, then you have something to debate later down the road, and then you have another reason to then manipulate that. That's why. So I thought I would say something about this. You know, it's very frightening. It makes me think that somebody could... I think she's in good hands. Her mother, I looked at her, Michaela's mother, she looked a very strong-willed woman. Very strong-willed woman. I mean, when I looked at her, especially when I saw her when she knocked on the door, and she said, yeah, I have a daughter by him. Is Hector, is that Hector's son? And she goes, oh yeah. And she literally knocked and she just kind of said hello. And she was like running her own investigation. Like you could tell she was like, this Hector isn't telling me everything, is he? You know, like, and I don't know how she came to our house. Out of all the odds of everything that could have gone on, and of everything in life, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, women have ways of finding out information and shit, but she knocked on her door politely, and she was like, I have a daughter by him. Is he Hector's son? And he goes, yeah. And my mom's like, oh, yeah. He goes, oh. And she kind of had if I remember correctly, she kind of had like a sort of the cringe, not cringe, a little sort of cringy smile, I guess. Cringe is maybe not the correct vocabulary word, but a crack of a smile, like realization of something, like, oh yeah, like realizing that she's not with him anymore. But apparently, you know, female male drama. And I remember her knocking on the door and be like, I have a daughter by him. Yeah, you know. And she's like thinking to herself, like, I don't think he's telling me everything. So I thought it was important for me to talk about. When I saw her at the church, over at that church, when I saw her knock on the door, and I think I saw her at the Twin Festival, she looked very smart. Very, very smart, very intelligent, like, she has a good grip on life, like, on a direction of dominance, very, very much something that you don't really see in a whole lot of women. Like, she was very mature, and she was pretty big, for a woman. But I thought it was important for me to talk about because, there's a lot of bad shit that goes on out there. And, hopefully this is going to be fucking some good protection. I'd rather I'd be killed than ever hurt Michaela. They can come at me. I'm fucking pretty worthless dog shit now. AIDS, transplant, likely to die. I'm old now. I got this Michael Jackson credit. It's best go on with your life and make it beautiful. I'm pretty washed up dog shit now. But I'm a prior cancer patient. I'm already 42 years old in 6 months. It's gone for me. I never had no girlfriend, never had no kids, married, nothing. No car in fucking 17, 20 years, nothing. All I experienced was hatred from these people. But it still frightens me. It still makes me think that somebody could hurt Michaela, you never know, it could kill her, just for President Barack Obama or harm her for the movement or harm one of her kids, who knows, or relatives. Most likely with Michaela because they would want somebody, but it's so tactical that you think that people want to harm you when they want to, they can, but a lot of the times it's best to keep you alive and use it as a chess piece to then put you to cover up for Kenneth Cooper. Because to me that's so fucking frightening. You have no idea how calculating this type of behavior he's doing. This is like a premeditated, guttering, parasitical, like murderous plot, tactical shit that is very dangerous because you're the kid of a detective or police officer, and number one is a child is involved that's being raped, and you're covering it up. That is the highest level of, besides, like right next to murder, if not worse, of criminal, mentally criminal. But who's talking? You got people coming out of prison like Snoop Dogg and all kinds of other people that went to prison, stabbing, all kinds of shit. Making rap music. 50 Cent got shot a bunch of times for cocaine. Making music, people love him. How many other rappers are there like that? Talk about that. Or how many actors or any other people you want to talk about, but you don't ever hear about the CEOs and the corrupted police. Because remember, they're the ones that make life happen. And you're far beyond crooked that you can't even imagine how monstrous. You think that these murderers and these people that did these, it's the police. It's a huge chunk of that. And Ken Cooper Sr. is one of them. And Kenneth is the accomplice to that shit with Sarah. And they know that because it's all about white, gays, tactical behavior. That's what that fucking is. And they didn't want anybody to know, so they came after me and my mother because they know how to dissect. Look who's stupid over there, doesn't know where to go. I'm going to show her how to be straight and what a real marriage is, and here, just gut her out like the little worthless bitch pig that she is. Throw some babies in her, get some twins, you got lucky. You see how special you are? Buy you a house? Oh, you see, yeah, it was for Kenneth Cooper and Madison. And so they just keep going. The quality of life is always fucking garbage life for me. Barely just hanging in there. And for them, you walk into stores, people treat you fine. You walk into fucking Albertsons, fine. You walk into whatever the fuck it is, you're living a normal life. You have a car, you have friends. I have no friends I talk to, nobody, nothing. I don't have anything. Beating the fuck out of electronic devices. Wish you the best. My sister, that any of this bad shit doesn't happen. But hopefully, I know that's already did. Something bad happened. Something did. Could have been an ex-boyfriend she was with, or a boyfriend that she was with, and that triggered it. So, I thought it was important because they know how to get everyone to go against you. Put your mind, put the brain where you want to place it, manipulate the shit, and let him cane himself. And so when you don't know what's going on, somebody attacks you, tries to fight, or has already premeditated mental information about you, kill them. And so they have this motive. Michael Jackson, oh, the spirit for our gays, and that's how they behave. Like they act so enthusiastic and away from Michael Jackson that they personally think they are him. They do the spirit of him. They know that he's the greatest leader. He does this for the gays and the struggles. They don't give a goddamn fuck how wrong and innocent I was, or my Frankie, or my mother. They don't give a none of that counts for anything. But it doesn't change. They're coming after me for it. Anyway, I thought I'd make a video on that. So stay safe, Michaela.